Now, Ole Miss rolled all over the Dogs this weekend. One of the big plays by Chad Kelly. All that and more, Rebel Watch, right here. Welcome to RebelWatch. I'm your host, Fogarty, and I have here with me Fred Nettles and Max McCann. The Rebels had a big win this weekend. Did you guys enjoy the game?
Oh yeah, definitely. Faith, the game actually went as I expected. The Georgia Bulldogs defense had no answer for the Ole Miss Rebel high-powered offense.
Yeah, it was hot out there, but seeing the Rebs dominate made it all the worth it.
It was indeed a hot one, and this one did not go Georgia's way. Ole Miss taking on number 12 Georgia here in Oxford. The Rebels absolutely dominated the Dogs. Chad Kelly threw for 282-yard 2 touchdowns and ran one in from the 40-yard line. Rebels looked dominant on both sides of the ball. They stopped Georgia's run game and forced freshman quarterback Jacob Eason to throw the ball, and the Ole Miss defense made him pay. He only completed 44% of his passes. Ole Miss wins that one big, 45-14. So this was a huge win on Saturday, guys. Ole Miss steamrolled the Dogs, and it looks like the Rebels might be back on track. Fred, that defense looks much improved from the past couple of weeks. What was the key for the Rebels on the defensive side of the ball?
Honestly, Faith, the Ole Miss defense, what I saw out there that really stood out was the defense forcing Jacob Eason into bad situations, forcing him to make errant throws, causing multiple turnovers just as a unit. And when the Ole Miss Rebel defense is locked in, this team could be one of the best in the SEC West.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. Max, a lot of freshmen and other newcomers made their appearance this Saturday. How did they look against the Dogs?
You know what? Seeing true freshman Devon Penman make a couple nice runs to the outside, hit that edge, they made the Rebel running game a factor for once. It was huge in this game. Also, it was good to see linebacker Dietrich Bing Dukes against his old team stifle the Bulldogs running game in Nick Chubb. He had 7 tackles and might be that answer the Rebels are looking for at the will linebacker spot moving forward.
Yes, this past Saturday was a hot one, and the heat alone affected attendance. Abby McIntosh has the story.
Saturday's football game between Ole Miss and Georgia was a game poorly attended by Ole Miss students for a variety of reasons.
It's just too hot. I can't deal with it. We had a morning game last week, and this is even earlier, and it's just so hot, crowded in the student section. I can barely see the football game, which is what I'm there for. So it's bad. I don't like it.
Those reasons include the early start, the heat, and even lost interest in the team, but to some students, it didn't matter.
Well, I went to the game because the Rebels are playing. It's a top 25 matchup.
A majority of students who went to the game left by halftime because of the heat.
The student section has absolutely no shade, and it makes it really hot and really miserable when there's like 10,000 students packed in a very small section with no shade at all.
Next week's game against Memphis is a 6 o'clock start, and students are excited.
It's going to be a lot cooler, which makes the game a lot more enjoyable. Plus, it's homecoming.
Despite all the factors going into today's game, including the lack of attendance by Ole Miss students and even Ole Miss fans, the Rebels were able to hold on to the lead and win the game 45-14. Reporting for RebelWatch, I'm Abby McIntosh.
Now, we took to Twitter to ask you guys, with the impressive win over Georgia, could the Rebels win out the rest of the season? We have a whopping 72% of you guys saying yes, they can win it out. Now, when we come back, we will take a look at this weekend's matchup and see if Ole Miss can tame the Memphis Tigers. Keep it locked on RebelWatch.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Last year, things didn't go as planned when the Rebels visited Memphis. But sometimes, when you fall down, you realize what it takes to stand up again. For the Rebels, it's time to show their neighbors to the north last year was a fluke. For the Tigers, it's another opportunity to show they belong with the elites of the SEC. Who's it going to be? We'll find out Saturday night.
That was Ole Miss's big collapse last year against the Memphis Tigers. The Rebels take on the Tigers this Saturday, maybe hoping to get a little revenge. We have Tom Shad, Memphis Tigers beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, on the phone. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Let's jump right into it. Memphis beat Ole Miss last year in Memphis. What is the vibe at practice this week before they take on the Ole Miss Rebels here in Oxford?
I think there's a lot of confidence, and obviously with what happened last year, you know, there's maybe a little bit more sense that Memphis can keep pace with these guys. There's some of that last year coming off the bye in 2014. You know, they played them somewhat close down in Oxford, but I think there's a lot more confidence this year. The vibe in practice, I mean, I think is, you know, they kind of have this underdog mentality. You heard it even a little bit after the game last night. You know, they know that given what Ole Miss has done and all the talent that team has, that they're going to be counted out again, much like they were last year. And I think this team's really comfortable in that underdog role, like most teams are. So I think there's going to be kind of that mentality, that chip on their shoulder type of deal of practice all week, which is, you know, good for them. It'll just be interesting to see if they can kind of carry it over and use that to really motivate and play well on Saturday.
Hello, Tom. Fred Nettles here. With Paxton Lynch going in the first round last season, Riley Ferguson has had to step in immediately and take over under center. He's thrown for over 800 yards and 11 touchdowns so far this season. Do you think he can be a viable replacement for last season's first-round draft pick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to completely fill the shoes of a first-round draft pick quarterback. You know, at a place like Memphis, it's not a place that recruits, you know, guys like that every day. So I don't think Riley is Paxton. I don't think that's a fair comparison to make. I think they're really different players, and I don't think that Riley's going to be as good as Paxton. But that being said, I think he can still be a very good quarterback. I mean, there are a few guys that can match kind of Paxton's size and mobility and arm strength. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how Riley does against tougher competition. I think that's one thing. You know, they've played SEMO, Bowling Green, and Kansas here in the first 3 games. They had a bye week in there to get some extra prep work done too. So, you know, they haven't really been tested yet. I think I'll be really interested to see coming up against Ole Miss and that secondary, how he fares. And I think we'll learn a lot from that game and moving forward the rest of the season.
Hey Tom, Max here. Speaking of losses, with Fuente taking the job at Virginia Tech, Mike Norvell has taken over and the Tigers are looking pretty good right now. You know, how have the Tigers looked under this new head coaching staff in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's you know, it's different in some ways than the old coaching staff. I think, you know, offensively they are you know, doing some of the same things that they did last year in terms of you know, spreading out the field, trying to push the pace a little bit. Defensively, players have just raved about the new coaching staff. They really like what defensive coordinator Chris Ball and his staff have done just in terms of scheme and teaching technique a little bit more than you know, than they had in years past. So I mean, it's hard to really evaluate. You know, we're only a third of the way into the season, you know, against opponents that I think were on paper were subpar, I guess I'd say. So it's really hard to get a good gauge. You know, I think it's kind of one of those so far so good, you know, is how the team feels, but they have yet to really be tested. And so I think, you know, it's hard to really evaluate until they face some adversity and see how they deal with it there.
All right, Tom, thanks so much for joining the show. Fred, the Tigers have a new quarterback, a new coaching system. Their offense is putting up big offensive numbers with that spread offense. This will be the first big test for that Tigers offense. Can the Rebel defense make stops?
Listen, Faith, coming in at 3-0, the Memphis Tigers, they have beaten Kansas, Bowling Green, and Southeast Missouri State. Let me repeat that. Kansas, Bowling Green, and Southeastern Missouri State. I honestly see the Ole Miss Rebels being completely dominant in all facets of the game. The Rebels' defensive line will wreak havoc in the backfield and cause Memphis to turn the ball over multiple times, and in the end, Ole Miss will win big.
All right, and Max, the Rebels really let one get away from them last year, and this is a big rivalry caused between these two teams. Do you think the Rebels are coming up looking for revenge?
Oh yeah, Kelsey, or Faith, I'm sorry. Veterans on this team like Evan Ingram, Isaac Gross, and others have marked this one on the calendar since the year began. They remember how this loss felt last year. I don't know if I would call it revenge, but they know who the better team is, and they'll be eager to prove it on the field Saturday. Riley Ferguson is a good quarterback, and the Rebs will have their hands full. But you know, I think the team will be ready this time.
And I couldn't agree with you more. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Les Miles is out at LSU. The guys are going to give their thoughts when we come back.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Welcome back to RebelWatch. The Mad Hatter out. LSU head coach Les Miles was fired yesterday, a day after LSU's loss to Auburn. Tigers are now 2-2. It's their worst start since their 2001 season. Les Miles has been in the hot seat down in Baton Rouge for the past year or so. People have wanted Les Miles out. They got their wish. Now, Fred, since 2014, LSU has lost 8 games as the higher-ranked team. No other team in the country has lost more than 6 in that time span. What took the LSU administration so long to fire Les Miles?
Honestly, Faith, I think a multitude of things. He's the second winningest coach in school history with 112 wins. He won the national title in 2007, and he was the SEC and National Coach of the Year in 2011. Not to mention, his buyout is about $12.8 million. And I'm no math whiz or anything, but that's a lot of money.
It is.
But it all boils down to Les Miles not being able to adapt to the changes made around college football with the spread offenses, the fast pace, and his stubbornness ultimately got him fired.
Absolutely.
And Max, with this being mid-season, is LSU season over?
Faith, it's definitely over. You know, the offense revolves around Leonard Fournette and him running the football. He has a nagging ankle injury. Now with his head coach being gone and a big payday awaiting him in the NFL, expect that ankle to become more problematic and his contributions on the offense to go way down. You know, interim coach Ed Orgeron, who, by the way, was the head coach at Ole Miss from 2005 to 2007, is known to fire his teams up for a game or two. So expect LSU to maybe upset someone at some point this year. You know, but unfortunately they still have Bama, Ole Miss, A&M, Arkansas still to play. You know, it's hard to predict LSU to have more than 7 wins and when it's all said and done.
No, I couldn't agree more. Okay, guys, the big question everyone wants to know the answer to is, what do you guys see next for Les Miles?
Faith, ultimately I see him taking this time to be with his family. We all know the grit and the grind and the struggle throughout the football season for both players and the coaching staff. So I can definitely see him taking this time to reflect on the reason he was fired, as well as talking with his family about the next step in his coaching life.
On top of that, you know, Nick Saban's known to hire fired coaches. He fired, you know, coaches before and brought them back. Lane Kiffin, head coach at USC, Steve Sarkisian. I could see maybe him taking a job at Alabama as a coordinator, something like that, you know.
And that'll be interesting to see. Now, this weekend in the sports world, we lost 2 great players. First, Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez passed away at age 24 from a tragic boating accident early Sunday. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred said he was one of the game's greatest young stars who made a dramatic impact on and off the field since his debut in 2013. And then late last night, the golf world lost the sport's greatest ambassador in Arnold Palmer. Longtime friend Jack Nicklaus remembered him on Twitter by saying, "Arnold transcended the game of golf. He was more than a golfer or even a great golfer. He was an icon. He was a legend." Now, guys, this is just so sad to hear.
Oh yeah, Faith. Jose Fernandez. He was just 24 years old. He was a great young talent. He was a great young talent. His first year he was single A. His second year he jumped to the major leagues, and that's like the highest jump in the history of baseball. He was a huge family man. People were instantly drawn to his loving personality, and he had a huge heart. Also, Arnold Palmer, he was the epitome of golf. He was a great icon. He paved the way for most young golfers that's playing the game today, and he would definitely be missed by not only the golf world but the sports world.
You know, I saw on Twitter a picture of D. Gordon. He was in tears at the stadium. You know, the reason why these deaths are so sad, you know, the bond between teammates. I know we've all been on teams. You know, when you lose somebody like that, your teammate, it's just such a strong loss. You know, real sad for everyone involved.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you guys. Coming up next on Rebel Watch, we will recap all Friday night action you missed on Rebel Watch. Keep it locked. We'll be right back.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. And we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Welcome back to RebelWatch. The Oxford Chargers made the trip to West Point to take on the Green Waves. The Chargers entered Friday's matchup with a 2-2, hoping to turn their season around. With 2 straight wins, the Lafayette Commodores seem to turn. Now Oxford took on West Point, like I said, in the Region 1 opener for both teams.
Here we have Devin Rocky, 3-star cornerback who recently decommitted from Ole Miss, and on this play, he's broken up the pass and he's going to throw up the land shark.
And here's what Devin had to say about his decommitment.
My next step is just, I mean, God is my strength. I'm just gonna let him guide me through this process. It was for, I just wanted to explore my options a little bit more, see what was the best fit for me. I feel like I acted too fast, but God's gonna guide me through this.
All right, pretty interesting stuff from Rocket there. But here on Oxford's opening possession, Hiram Wadlington takes it in from 1 yard out, and Oxford was on top 8-0, looking good at this point.
Oh yeah, however, here on West Point's ensuing possession, running back Marcus Murphy, a Mississippi State commit, takes a handoff 67 yards to the house. Oxford still leads 8-7 after the first quarter.
Beautiful play. Now fast forward to the late in the third quarter, it's Murphy again. From 35 yards out to point West Point, back on top, 15-8.
Now, yeah, as you said, Marcus Murphy is really the only player West Point had on offense. As you can see here, Oxford trying to make a late comeback. Barry Flowers takes the handoff here but fumbles the football. Number 45 for West Point, C.J. Melton, takes it all the way back to the TD. That would put the nail in the coffin on this one. West Point would end up winning this game 22-8. I had a chance to catch up with the Chargers after the game, and quarterback John Reese McClure.
Welcome to the RebelWatch post-game report. I'm Max McCann. Tonight, Oxford came out in a hot start playing a good West Point team, but came up short tonight, losing 22-8. I'm here with the Oxford quarterback, John Reese McClure. John Reese, y'all struggled on offense the last 2 weeks. What do y'all have to change moving forward?
We just got to come out and make good habits in practice, come out and work hard, and we gotta improve each week. That's our goal.
Now, you obviously got knocked around a lot tonight. Is there something you can tell your offensive line to help you out a little moving forward?
No. They can only do what they can do, and I'm a competitor. I don't care what happens. I'm going to compete, so, yeah.
All right, John Reese, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. All right, for the RebelWatch post-game report, I'm Max McCann.
Now Lafayette took on Charleston. Let's take a look at those highlights.
Now first we have Jamarcus Quarles. He's back at it again. Takes a 58-yard handoff to the house. It's 7-0 Lafayette, and they just keep on rolling.
Oh yeah, here with an attempt at a third touchdown, they had to settle for a field goal by the Commodores. The Commodores remain up 21-0.
Now the Tigers have 2 early touchdowns in the third quarter.
Here we have the Tigers they're making several mistakes of multiple high snaps, sacks, and incomplete passes. The Tigers, however, still have 2 early touchdowns in the third quarter.
Yeah, as you can see here, Charleston makes a late comeback here, but Lafayette's just too much for a lot of teams lately. 2 weeks ago, they beat Oxford. This week, they're just going to keep on rolling. They won tonight 34-21. Here's the post-game report with Daniela.
Where the Commodores
took on the Charleston Tigers. Lafayette dominated the first half with 27 consecutive points. The Commodores started off with an early touchdown after a 58-yard run by Jamarcus Quarles. They quickly made 2 more touchdowns, followed by 2 field goals. However, the Tigers were not so lucky. They made several mistakes with multiple high snaps, incomplete passes, and a sack here and there. But the Charleston Tigers came out strong in the second half with 3 touchdowns. However, the rally wasn't enough as the Lafayette Commodores held off the Charleston Tigers in a 34-21 game. Lafayette High School is now 3-2 under new head coach Mike Fair. You can catch the Lafayette Commodores at Ripley next Friday at 7. For Rebel Watch, I'm Daniela Oropeza.
Okay, guys, now the Memphis Tigers come into Oxford this weekend. I've had this game marked on my calendar since the schedule came out. It's going to be a good one. Who do you guys have?
Faith, the Memphis Tigers are good, but they're not going to be a match for the Rebels. I have Ole Miss winning 52-20.
Yeah, you know, I have the game being a little bit closer. Obviously, you know, Memphis has a really good offense. They put up a lot of points last week. I have Ole Miss winning, though, 49-31.
You know, guys, I could not agree more. I think the Rebels are out for a revenge, and they're going to win 42-18. A lot of big games this weekend, which means a lot of big plays. That's right, it's the top 5 plays of the week.
All right, we open up with number 5. We have Jamarcus Quarles taking the handoff here from quarterback Will Ard, and that man, he's just been awesome this year.
Oh, yeah.
58 yards to the house.
Oh, yeah, he's been tough all season, man. And for the number 4 play, we have Chad Kelly with the option keep, taking it 40 yards for the touchdown against the Georgia Bulldogs.
He's got wheels, man. All right, for number 3 here, we have West Point going for the 2-point conversion. Number 8 wide receiver, Nate Montgomery makes a diving catch here. And this put Lafayette back on top 15-8.
Number 2 we have here, Jacob Eason with the pass, picked off by Derrick Jones. This was his first game back off of suspension for the Rebels. He has a pick 6 on the year. This is also his first catch. He's a converted cornerback from wide receiver.
Great play. And here we have number 1. Everyone knows about this play. Chad Kelly drops back the pass, evades the Georgia defender, and launches it downfield. Demarcus Laws, despite being held and one, baby. There we go, touchdown. Ole Miss cruises on this one.
Has a strong arm, man.
Now that's all we have for you today, folks. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @Rebel_Watch and also watch us every Monday on Maxwell Sports Channel 31. Have a good day.